We are continuing our Awakening to Grace series this month. And today our topic is peace. And we're looking at that peace that passes understanding, beyond what we can understand. And I found myself all week as I pursued this topic asking, what does that mean? What does peace beyond my understanding mean? So I looked it up, and the definition of peace is a state of harmony, the absence of hostility and violence. In a societal sense, peace is commonly used to mean a lack of conflict and freedom from fear or violence. That makes sense. Intellectually, we understand what that means. But what does peace beyond our understanding mean? So I took the question inward, as I am frequent to do, and open to receiving that deeper revelation of what does this mean? Peace beyond understanding. It's biblical based, so there's a spiritual aspect to it somewhere, and I'm open to receive greater insights on what that is. But how do we describe something that's beyond our understanding? That's kind of where I kept landing with this. It'd be like me trying to stand up here and explain to you deep brain surgery. Trust me, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to start to explain that. This piece, in many ways, is ethereal. It's elusive. It's veiled. It's a faint glimmer in the darkness that we sense, but we can't quite grasp. There's a sense that it's real, that it's true as we're on this spiritual journey. Yeah, what is that? Now, whenever I've experienced this type of deeper peace, it's usually in meditation, I felt completely free, unburdened, untethered, so to speak, sometimes even seemingly separate from my body. And it's a feeling of letting go of anything I have to do. There's no doingness involved. There's a sense that little voice critic, the committee, the ego, I can send them a little vacation. They're not part of this. Go away. They're not part of this. Yet, all that still is not that peace that's beyond understanding, because I understand this stuff. I'm explaining it to you, right? So here we are back in this loop again. Peace beyond our understanding, it means peace beyond the intellect. It's peace beyond the intellect. This peace is the God presence within us, our oneness in it. Much like the idea of God as the I am, there's a mystical sense of this peace that passes understanding. It's beyond the circumstances that we react to. And it is the inner knowledge that we develop and the relationship that we have with our own source of our being, that very individualized and personal relationship that we develop through our own spiritual practices. How do we know spirit? How do we know God? And each of us has a different understanding of that. It's the God or the spirit or the source of our understanding. That is also that peace that passes beyond our worldly understanding. That's the realization that I've come to this week. Now, in my research, I found a lot of quotes about peace, and I want to share some of those with us today. And true peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of a mind that is calm and centered, no matter what is happening. I think that last piece is important in that quote, no matter what is happening, because the world can get pretty chaotic, pretty busy, pretty active. And when we can be at peace on the inside, no matter what. Another one is, in the quiet moments of nature, I find a peace that passes all understanding. a sense of belonging to something vast and beautiful. I'm reading an Ernest Holmes book right now that I'm realizing I haven't read before, which I've read most of his books. It's one that he wrote very late in his life, just prior to his passing, and it's called A New Design for Living. And in it, it's what I call a chewy book, if you know what that feels like. It's a lot of stuff. And I find myself pausing to reflect on a lot of it. And in the beginning, he seems to go on and on and on and on and on and on a little bit more about spirit and nature. And he gets really detailed about looking at things in nature, things in the universe, grass and trees and sea stuff and all of it. But he gets really detailed with it. And I kept going through and finally I'm like, okay, what's he trying to do? He's trying to get us to expand our awareness of the vastness of nature, of the vastness of spirit, of the creativity of spirit. And that's what this quote meant to me as I read it, that we belong to something that is vast and beautiful, is something that we call nature. Another one is the peace that passes all understanding comes from not fighting the world, but from accepting it as it is and finding peace within ourselves. That's a tough one, huh? Yeah. Not fighting the world, but accepting it as it is and finding peace within ourselves. We could meditate on that one for a week, couldn't we? And Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, peace in the world starts with peace in oneself. And that's the one I want to focus on this morning. Peace in oneself, peace in ourselves. What is it and how do we achieve it? Most enlightened teachers say that the key to happiness is peace of mind. And we've all probably experienced peace of mind at some point, but it may seem that it's fleeting. It doesn't hang around a lot because something comes flying in from the outside that wrecks our peace, right? So it can be fleeting. Is it possible to cultivate peace, such an inner peace, that we can access it at any time we choose? Is that possible? Peace in the face of any of life's storms, challenges, whether those are on the outside or whether those are on the inside, because we face both of those, don't we? Inner peace doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges. Sorry. It also doesn't mean that we're not going to have challenges, that we're not going to have things that perplex us, because that is where our growth comes from, isn't it? Solving a problem helps us to grow, helps us to learn, helps us to expand. So we're going to continue to have those things. Sorry, folks, you heard it here today. Even when we grasp this idea of inner peace, our practice is to learn how to meet every challenge, every obstacle with calmness, clarity, and compassion. This state of inner peace is a state of tranquility. When I hear the word tranquility, I always think of Tibetan monks. They just seem to have this tranquil aura about them. And that's a sense of inner peace I associate with that also. It's where we feel at ease with ourselves, with others, and the world around us. That just sounds relaxing in and of itself, doesn't it? To go through life at ease with ourselves, with other people, with the world and what's happening. Feels that would be something. Would anybody like that? Am I on the wrong path this morning? Okay, as long as I'm on the right path this morning. Being fully present and comfortable in our own skill and skin and less impacted by the things that happen that create worry and anxiety and fear in our lives. That all sounds great, but how do we get there? Interesting, Daniel brought up Buddhism this morning. The Buddhists teach that peace of mind is equanimity. Big word, equanimity. It describes a state of mental and emotional stability, composure, and calmness. And they teach that the way is through meditation. One of my favorite topics, as you know. It's through meditation, mindfulness, non-attachment. Those are the practices. And those are things we hate to let go of, aren't they? We're pretty attached to things. We want to be part of things. We don't want to be detached from it. We want to have an opinion about it, and we want to state our opinion about it. And sometimes we're not very calm about it. We can get wound up. So this is a shift for us. This is a shift for us in how we be and how we show up in the world when we're aiming for this inner peace, equanimity, state of tranquility. As I was going through this work and looking at inner peace and what is that, I have a lot of questions this week. Inner peace and what is that and how do we get there and what is equanimity and how do we get there? I came across 12 practices and they're from actually the Calm app. Anybody have the Calm app on your phone? It has some meditations, some things and ways to help you calm down during the day, in the evening, going to sleep at night, things like that. And I'm going to include these in the Mindful Monday email tomorrow, the link to it, the list as well. And I'm going to just tell you right now, you already know these, okay? You're already probably familiar with them, but a quick reminder never hurts, does it? So we're going to go through these quickly. Number one, my favorite, meditate. Meditate. Simply be still, sit calmly. Take the time for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, build up to 20 minutes where you can just stop and be calm, be present, close your eyes and breathe. Allow your body, your nervous system, everything to just calm down and just focus on your breath. I recommend first thing in the morning, first thing you do before the day gets going, before you pick up your phone and look at the headlines or Facebook or your emails or anything, do the meditation first. Get yourself centered, then start your day. Number two, live in the present. Anybody guilty of multitasking besides me? Yes, multitasking is a horrible habit because we're not giving our attention to anything. We're trying to give our attention to everything, and everything is given less attention. So, living in the present, if we're not living in the present, we're either in the past or the future. There's no place else to be, right? Past is gone, future's not here. We're missing all this stuff in the middle. So, being present, when we catch ourselves not present, simply gently bring yourself back. You can do that through catching your breath. You can do that through just a focus exercise. You can do that by checking your pulse and feeling your own heartbeat. Right there, present. It's back to that gentle rhythm. Number three, cultivate a positive mindset. Ernest Holmes, again, Science of Mind, he is very clear throughout his writings about the importance of looking at life with an affirmative attitude, with a positive attitude. A lot of people have come behind him. Norman Vincent Peale, Zig Ziglar in the 70s and 80s. A lot of people started talking about this. We now see positive psychology being taught at Harvard, Yale, many of the universities. There's a benefit to looking at life on a more affirmative basis than looking at life as half empty glass, negativity, doom and gloom, nothing good. We know from the law of attraction that our vibration, what we are thinking, as Jim was teaching us this morning. Our thoughts are creative and they will bring more of that to us. So it's to our own benefit to talk and think and live more affirmatively. We can catch ourselves in the negative and turn it around, just completely turn it around. And another way is to catch ourselves complaining. We did that whole thing a couple of years ago on complaint free world. That was it. And changing our bracelet every time we complained until we could get through 30 days without complaining. Complaining is a habit and we can break it. Count our blessings instead. Number 4, develop self-love. We hear a lot about self-love, a lot of cliches about it, but really self-love is about letting go of your own negative thinking about yourself. And a simple exercise is to write down your positive qualities. Toot your own horn, as they say. Pat yourself on the back. Write a list for you. Anything negative on that, cross it out, write down the complete opposite thing. And review that list of your good qualities, the good that you do, the good way that you show up in the world and help other people and the things you do for other people. Developing self-love, it's important also to identify triggers that set you off to make yourself wrong, complain about yourself, beat yourself up for something you said or did or didn't do. Triggers are things that we install as protective mechanisms, and we have the power to uninstall them. Practice self-care. Self-care is not all about bubble baths, although they can be nice. That's not exactly all self-care. This is looking at how you show up in your physical, emotional, social, professional, and spiritual world. Who are you in each of those realms of your life? Are you exercising and feeding your body? Are you feeding your body healthy foods mostly every day? 80-20 rule, right? Are you exercising your body? I read an interesting study this week that just came out that, we all talk about what steps, getting your steps in, the stop monitoring thing. And it was 10,000 steps, I think it was, forever. Now they're saying it's closer to 7. Well, in the newest study is you need 15 minutes of brisk walking a day. And the results of the study is that it increases lifespan by 30-40%. Yeah. And it reduces cardiovascular, lung, kidney, diabetes, and mental dementia and things like that. So hugely beneficial to us for 15 minutes each day of brisk walking. Do we have 15 minutes to really empower our bodies for a much longer, healthier, happier life? Practicing self-care. Are you aligned with your professional work and life balance? Are you doing daily spiritual practices? Those are some of the things that we have choices in all those realms. Number 6 is visualize peaceful places. Visualization is one of the most powerful ways that we can use our imagination. Our imagination, some teachers say that is the God piece within us, is our imaginations, because that is the creative process within us. We can imagine something that's not even here. And we can visualize places we've been, peaceful places, harmonious places. We can take a mini vacation anytime we want to. We can reimagine ourselves being on that beach, watching the waves come in, seeing the seagulls fly or the pelicans. We can imagine swishing down the slopes, the fresh powder on the mountainside. Whatever it is, we can imagine all of those things. And scientific studies have proven our brains don't know the difference in whether we're actually doing it or we're imagining it. So we can do that for ourselves as well. Learn to breathe effectively. Now, I know most of us learned to breathe a very long time ago, like the first thing we learned, right? Most of us got smacked on the behind and started screaming and breathing. So we got it. But there's now an effective way to breathe. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube that teach you breath work. And one of the practices of that is to breathe in slowly to a count of 4. And at the very top, just drop, don't hold. A count of 8, out all the way. And right at the bottom, bring it right back up to a count of 4 again. And just continue that rhythm nice and slowly, in for 4, out for 8. And practice that. Try it for 30 seconds. Try it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. See what happens by just practicing breathing exercises. Access nature. Now is the perfect time in Arizona to be out in nature, to enjoy what's there. You can combine being out in nature with number 5, self-care. Those two can go together. Get a twofer. Be grateful. We talk about that every Sunday. Acknowledge what we're grateful for every day as a spiritual practice. What being grateful every day does is help us to understand how incredibly blessed we already are and the number of blessings that we have in our lives. And it just continues to build on itself. Even if you're not writing it down every day, I invite you to just think of 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for every single day on your drive, when you get up, some over lunch, just some place that you can be grateful for 1 to 3 things every day. Number 10 is acceptance. Acceptance is something we're not seeing a lot of in our world today. We're seeing a lot of polarization splashed across the news. And then we see something really fascinating. You know, we've had our differences with China over the past several months, years, or centuries, whatever. And recently, China calls up NASA and says, hey, we need to move one of our satellites, but we see it's going to crash into yours. And can we work together on this so that nobody has a problem? And NASA's like, sure. And so they did the move, and everybody played nice, and there was no problem. So we can do it out in the universe. Can we do it here on Mother Earth? Acceptance. This works accepting ourselves, along with number 3, positive mindset, number 4, self-love, and number 9, gratitude. So we can put a bunch of those together. Number 11 is non-judgment of ourselves and others. Now, if you want to practice this, I invite you to tune in to either CNN or Fox News, whichever one you never watch, and give yourself about 30 seconds to not judge and practice non-judgment. Practice non-judgment. Can you do it? Can you do it? Practicing non-judgment also applies to number 4, self-love, because we judge ourselves so harshly sometimes, so harshly, for little infractions. So I invite you to stop judging yourself, others, and the world. Discernment is different than judgment. Judgment makes wrong. Number 12 is to foster deeper connections. Now, if I had a soapbox, I'd get on it this morning, because this is one that I every Sunday when I drive in, I drive through the neighborhoods, and I see a lot of people out by themselves, walking, riding their bikes, running, hanging out in the parks, alone, alone. And I'm like, get in my back seat and come to church with me. Come up here and be with people, connect with people, have a conversation. We're missing that. And that's such an important part of our human life experience, is the reflection of each other and being each other's energy. I like the convenience of Zoom and Teams and all those things that we have, the convenience of working remotely. All of that stuff's great, but we're missing that critical component of connection. We're missing that opportunity to brainstorm off of each other in the break room. We're missing that collaboration. We're missing that feeling, that energetic feeling that we only get by touching each other or being in each other's presence. We all have an energy around us, and we can feel that energy in this room that we don't feel when we're watching at home necessarily. So that part, that foster deeper connections, reach out and foster those connections. All right, had you ever heard of any of those? Probably heard of all of them, haven't you? Most of us have. We're familiar with them. How often are you using them? How often are you using those 12 practices in your life? What still gets under your skin? The news? The news. Doesn't it though? Toxic family members. We're going to have a chance to play with that perhaps in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, right? Yeah. Politics, anybody? Yeah. Still, what are you allowing to steal your peace? What are you allowing to steal your peace? Go back to number one. Let's go through 1 through 12 again and not allow these things in the external world to steal our peace within. Now, this week I had a lot of opportunities to use these practices in the real estate office. That's my day job, as I work in commercial real estate. And I've been working my way through a pretty big deal this week, and there was lots of people and opinions and so forth involved in this. And I had lots of opportunity to practice. I found myself doing that breathing exercise in the elevator as I rode up to a meeting. I found myself doing centering practices in the restroom because I had a peaceful, quiet moment to myself. I called my prayer partner for prayer. I did affirmations. I did meditations and prayer work before work each day. The company that I'm working with is a local division of a Fortune 300 company, billion dollar company with big real estate departments and lots of attorneys. And what I realized is that I was not going to play David and Goliath with these guys. I needed a win-win. So I had to elevate my consciousness of this whole deal to what's best for both parties. Even though I represent the landlord, I still had to balance that, because if we got into a battle with these guys, we would just simply lose. And that's in no one's best interest. So I had to keep it high level. It was a great exercise for me. Spirit always talked to you about in my message. So I'm glad this one was good. And I know it's going to wrap up to conclusion this coming week. I put the proposal on their desk Thursday afternoon. So just knowing that's going to happen and everybody's going to be quite happy with it. But I needed my professional skills, but I also needed my spiritual skills to keep me grounded and centered through that whole process. And that's what you can do too. You can use these principles and practices to help you with every storm, challenge, conflict, anything that comes up. You've got the tools in your toolbox to know how to use them. This is part of why I started the Mindful Monday email that we send out on Mondays. The recap of today's talk and the practices is so that you've got a written summary of what we're talking about today, that you've got the list of all these practices, and you can refer to those and you can use them and practice them until you embody them and they become second nature for you, so that they're there for you to pull out when you need them. The Science of Mind, we teach the practical application of the spiritual laws of the universe. And I see these backed more and more by scientific study every day. Ernest saw a lot of that in his day, and he projected a lot more, but we're seeing the evidence of that now, today. A lot of the science is proving these universal laws that we talk about. Ernest had a saying in his weekly radio show that he did. He said, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." And that's still very true today. You can use it, and it does work. So I invite you to harness that power in your life. So let's look at some spiritual practices for this week. So it's kind of easy. Those 12. Those 12. Practice them so that they can become your habit. It's a toolbox for you. I recommend meditation every day, of course. You may work on self-love or self-care. You may combine some of those that we talked about combining. Go out in nature and get four for the price of one, so to speak, and figure out how you can use those, though, in your life this week. And it will help you to navigate the ups and downs that we face, because we're all going to face them. Isn't it better to be prepared when we do? I think of the hockey player, the goalie guy, right? He's the one that has on all the gear and everything and the big pans and all that stuff. He's ready. He's practiced. He's prepared for that little bitty tiny hockey puck coming at him at 500 miles an hour. When you've got your spiritual practices and principles, you're prepared for that 500-mile-an-hour hockey puck coming in from out of the blue, right? We never expect them. But with these practices, you'll be prepared. We'll close with a quote from Deepak Chopra, who says, "In the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside you." So this week, may you go in peace. So it is. All right. I will open for any questions. If anybody has any questions or comments you'd like to share or make this morning about the topic of peace or anything else I've talked about. Open mic time. Nope, everybody's good. Oh, Jim. All right.
I was reminded of the peace song, which a lot of spiritual setters use. We talk about that there's going to be these things that keep coming in and these surprises that come along. If we work to that state of inner peace that's beyond our understanding, will those stop? Are we creating those experiences by saying we're always going to have challenges?
Nice. I don't think so, only because I think even the Dalai Lama, who is very tranquil, experiences things. The world is going to keep spinning. And until everybody becomes mindful and in a state of grace and peace, we're going to continue to have things happen. I think as we continue to increase our level of inner peace and awareness, that our experience of that will be, as Daniel shared with the Buddha, turning the arrows into flowers. We'll experience it different. It doesn't mean it's going to stop happening. It means our experience of it will be completely different. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Jim. Anyone else? All right. Well, would you join me for a prayer as we anchor this morning? So as we go within, we recognize that place within us that is peace, that place within us that is spirit source. We recognize it as the allness of life itself. that which has created all, from the universe as far as we can see, beyond that, to everything that we experience here on planet Earth, including ourselves. For we are a manifestation of this one power, this one presence, this one life, this infinite love that loves so much that it just continues to create of itself. And all of creation has within it that substance, which is the one. And that means we do too. We are God's substance and form. And so, as I speak my word for and about all of us here this morning, I recognize that peace is spirit within us. And that as we continue to grow and embody our understanding of the I am, our understanding of peace, our understanding of the unity and oneness that all of life is, that we will continue to expand in our own grace, our own experience of life, the tranquility and equanimity that we experience will continue to grow and emerge. And at some point, we do get to the place where the storms of life become the flowers, and that we become that centering presence for others who are still seeing the arrows. And we just continue to share our love and our peace in the world. I know for anyone today that has anything on their heart that they seek prayer around, as they lift it into their consciousness this morning, into the consciousness of this prayer, that we know the complete manifestation of whatever it is that that prayer is about. Whether it is health or wealth, finances, answers, clarity, whatever it might be, we know that it's revealed in this moment. And so it is with a heart filled with joy and gratitude that I release this prayer into the action and activity of law, knowing that it's already done. And we affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.